Are you happy? It's one of those airy-fairy motivational rah-rah questions, isn't it? And it seems that if you talk about happy, it's a bit weird. We've got to be realistic. You can't be happy all the time. How about this though? If I asked you what is your number one goal in the world, regardless of whether it's your education or your finances or your relationships or the way you live your life, most people, the outcome of all of that is because I want to be happy. I want a career that I love so that I'm happy every day. I want to be in great relationships so I'm happy every day. I want to be healthy, fit and strong because I don't know if you've heard this before, but people have said this to me by the thousands. I would be so much happier if I lost weight, or I'd be so much happier if I was a smaller size, or I'd be so much happier if I was in better shape. So what does that actually mean, that happiness? What is that? And I'm getting now into a very controversial topic. Psychologists and psychiatrists and neuroscientists and brain doctors talk about it all the time. And it seems to be the reverse of that is there are enormous numbers of prescriptions written every single day, millions of them, written for people who are depressed, which seems to be the opposite of happy. So if I'm not happy, I'm unhappy. If I'm unhappy, is it possible that I'm more likely to be depressed? Now I'll ask a different question there. What does depression actually mean? And again, if you ask the brain doctors, the neuroscientists, the psychologists and psychiatrists, there's a lot of dispute about what that actually means, but it seems to be that you're not happy. You don't love your life. Another interesting definition of depression is that you have no purpose. The reason that you don't want to get up in the morning, the reason that it's hard to get up, the reason that you have no drive and no discipline and no excitement for life is because you don't have a purpose. So is it possible, and I'll start right there, if you have a purpose to get up, if you have a purpose to live your life, if you have a reason, there's a better word, to drag yourself out of bed or jump out of bed or however you want to describe it, is it possible that you are more likely to get up and get going? So here's a great question. What do you want to do with your life? Or have you decided already, or have you believed somebody that said you can't do it? And one of my interesting questions that I always ask, because I invest a lot of time with kids in schools, they're the future leaders of our world. So for me, they're young adults. They're people who will be adults, and I would love them to be happy. So how do we help our kids to be happy? How do we give our kids purpose? And is it possible that if our kids know that they can be a rock star, be a race car driver, be an artist, be a musician, be a doctor, be an engineer, be an accountant, travel the world, sing with their voice out loud, is it possible that they are more likely to want to study, want to go to school, want to get involved in life? And that's I think a really important question. Should we be finding out for ourselves, for our kids, what do you love to do? We often get caught up in the expectation of the world. So if you're really smart at high school, you probably should become a doctor or a lawyer or go to university. And I think that's a really great idea. If you're really excited about being a doctor or a lawyer, an engineer or an accountant or some kind of academic pursuit, then you have to go to university to get that particular qualification. Or do you? Are there people that have become all of those things, doctors, lawyers, engineers, architects, and they've found a different way? Even though they were told they weren't smart enough in school, they didn't get the right mark in high school, but they still ended up becoming a doctor or a lawyer or an accountant or an engineer. Interesting question. Is it possible, however, that if your driving force is to play a sport or to do music or to do art or to be an entrepreneur or there's just so many different opportunities in the world that are not based on a tertiary education. And it seems that they are almost considered to be second-class opportunities. You know, if you, yes, you can try for your sport, or you can try to be an artist, or you can try to be a singer, but you need a backup plan, so you should probably go to university and get a degree. This is going to be very controversial, but I call that backup plan for me is Latin for failure. If I tell somebody, you can't be a sports person, so you better get a backup plan, am I not telling them they're going to fail? Am I not literally saying to them, you can't do that, so you better have a backup plan? Is it possible that the people that didn't have a backup plan are the one for their sport, their music, their art, their doctorate? There was no other option. They just wanted to do that, and that's all they wanted to do, and that's why they went and did it. And I always use this beautiful example. It's one of my favourite stories for never give up. I was talking to a guy on a train in Melbourne, Australia, and I always find happy people. I'm a big thing for happy, because I don't like the alternative. I'm not interested in depressed. I'm not interested in unhappy. I'm not interested in grumpy. My driving force is, what do I need to do to be happy? To have a happy body, have a happy, healthy brain. So when I see other people that are happy, I always want to talk to them. How come you're happy? Tell me about that. So this guy was sitting on the train, and he was kind of like he was singing to himself. He seemed a really happy person. So I said, tell me, sir, you seem really happy. How come? And he was more mature. If I had to guess from first impressions, I would say well over 30. And he said to me, I've just got into medical school. And he was ecstatic. Oh, yeah, I've just got into medical school. Thanks for noticing how happy I am. I said, tell me about that. And he said, I was told in school that I was too dumb to be a doctor. I would never get the right marks, and it was never going to happen for me. But I wanted to be a doctor. And could that be a really good question to ask yourself? If you want a purpose to get up every day, what do you really want to do? What are you inspired by? And rather than listen to the people that tell you that you can't do it, how about how can I? What do I need to do to do what I want to do? And his purpose for being a doctor is he'd had lots of people in his life who had struggled with mental challenges, with diseases, and he wanted to help people to stay healthy, and if they were sick, to help them to get better. Great reason to be a doctor. Anyway, everybody at school, careers officer, parents, teachers, you're not smart enough, you'll never be a doctor. How dare we steal people's dreams? Isn't that a great question? Anyway, so he scraped through, and he's from Australia, so year 12, he scraped through his last year of high school and got accepted into a Bachelor of Arts degree at university. And most people don't take a Bachelor of Arts degree seriously, but depends. If you want to be an artist, that might be exactly the degree that you need to do. How about consider that? But anyway, he said, I felt like a second-class citizen because I scraped into Bachelor of Arts degree, but he said I was in university. So I did my first year of Bachelor of Arts, and then I applied for a transfer, and I got into physiotherapy. Then I changed from physiotherapy to biomedical science, and then I changed from biomedical science to medical school, and now I'm in medical school. I'm going to be a doctor. The interesting thing about a more mature student, there's lots of opportunities for a start. Just consider this. You're wiser, smarter, had more life experience than a 16, 17, 18-year-old straight out of high school. Obviously, if it's your driving force, you've been doing ongoing studying and learning to be able to attract the goal that you want to achieve. And most universities are really excited to have mature age students. There's plenty of students coming out of high school, but they really like it if you're a mature age student, which is exactly what happened to this guy on the train. I'm sharing that with you because he was told that he couldn't. You can't. It's not possible for you. You're not smart enough. And he got into medical school, and I'm pretty sure after meeting that guy that he's going to make a fantastic doctor. I use the example of rock stars. I have so many students in high school that say to me, I'd love to be a rock star, but I can't sing. Really. And we all know rock stars who can't sing. We've been to their concerts, we've danced at their concerts, we've sung at their concerts. We know that they're not the best singers in the world, and they'd never win a singing competition. But they have X factor and passion and drive and enthusiasm, and we love them. So when somebody tells you that you can't do the thing that you're excited about, maybe you've bought into that and you've ended up in a lousy, stinking, rotten job that you hate, and you don't want to get up in the morning. It's depressing. And I don't know what that feels like to be depressed, but I can imagine that would be what that is all about. I don't want to get up because I hate my job. I don't want to get up because I'm going to earn money to pay my lousy, stinking, rotten bills. Instead of I'm getting up to change the world. I'm getting up to share my music with the world. I'm getting up to play my sport. I'm getting up to raise money for my charity. I'm getting up because I want to be a healthy, fit, strong human being, and I'm excited to get up. And isn't that happiness? And and it's a very controversial topic, and it's rah-rah and motivational, and people argue about it over and over. People tell me every day you can't be happy every day. Well, here's a better question. What if you could? What would you need to do to be happy every day? How would you need to live your life differently? And I always ask, as always, these 4 questions. What if you were healthy, fit and strong? So your body was in peak physical condition so that you could do all the things that you wanted to do because you physically can. Is it possible that if you are physically strong and physically tough and physically fit, that you'll have those chemicals pumping into your brain, so that will allow you to think more clearly. And I'm going to give you a reverse of that. If I'm healthy, fit and strong, if I've got a career that I love, if I'm financially free, and if I've got great people in my life, am I more likely to be happy? And you could say, yes, well, if I get fit and if I get a career that I love, and if I've got a stack of money and if I've got great people in my life, I'll be happy. If and when that all happens, I'll be happy. What about the reverse of that? And this is where physiology and psychology I think need to be flipped on their end. And I used to believe this. I used to believe that if I was disciplined and if I was focused and if I really pushed hard and if I focused on being happy and if I woke up every day, I'm happy, that I could possibly be happy. I used to say this. I wake up in the morning and I used to sing this song. I feel good, na 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 na. I knew that I would now, na 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 na. So good, yeah, so good, woohoo. And it's a great song because it's telling yourself to be happy, to feel good. But I've got a whole new understanding. I've been studying neuroscience, and here's a great question. Is it possible that if you have happy chemicals pumping into your brain, if you have the neurotransmitters that make you feel good, dopamine is a reward drug, serotonin is a satisfaction drug, brain-derived neurotropic factor is fertilizer for your brain, endorphins are a happy pain-killing drug, oxytocin is a connection love drug. Is it possible that if you've got all of those transmitting through your brain, they're called neurotransmitters for a reason, is it possible that you couldn't be unhappy? What if every single day, and this is something that I've been banging on about for a really long time now, because I do get accused on a regular basis of being unrealistically happy, obnoxiously happy. You can't be that happy. It's not possible. But I'm going to share with you that the reverse of that, when you have a brain full of happy drugs, happy chemicals, happy neurotransmitters, how can you be unhappy? If you have a look at, particularly we'll look at those four, dopamine, serotonin, brain-derived neurotropic factor, oxytocin, they are the driving force for the pharmaceutical companies who are trying to put all of those into a pill, into a powder, into a pharmaceutical drug. And most people that are unhappy, most people that are depressed, that end up in a doctor's office or a psychologist or psychiatrist's office, that's what the prescription's written for, some concoction of those things to try and get those levels evened out in the person's brain, or to put those things back into the person's brain so that they feel good. Well, here's the interesting thing. If I exercise at high intensity, and I'm using exercise for a reason, there are lots of ways to pump those chemicals into your brain. You can get them from pharmaceuticals, you can get them from learning, you can get them from dancing, you can get them from hanging out with great people, you can get them from laughing. But there is no more powerful way to pump happy drugs into your brain, dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, endorphins, than to do high intensity activity. If you get really puffed, what happens is, because your body is designed to get away from stress, and is it possible that the opposite to happy could be stressed? If it's not depressed, it might be stressed. Is it possible that a really stressed body gets out of kilter? There's a good word. We call it dis-ease. If you have high stress levels, your body's more likely to become dis-eased. But the interesting thing is that stress is the manufactured inside our body to get us away from the threat. So when we feel threatened, when we feel like somebody's trying to kill us or hurt us or make our life bad, our body produces stress for a reason, because when we get stressed, our body then produces epinephrine, adrenaline, cortisol, so we can go, so we can run away from the animal, so we can turn and fight the animal, so we can stand up for ourselves and win the fight. So we produce those stress drugs, which then, after I've killed the animal or I've run away, woohoo, I now have a brain full of dopamine, serotonin, brain-derived neurotropic factor, oxytocin if I ran away with my family or if I fought with my family, because that's the connection drug, the love drug. And my body produces endorphins, which are painkillers to help me do that. Once I've sprinted, once I've punched, once I've kicked, once I've lifted heavy, once I've done all of that, I've produced massive amounts of these happy neurotransmitters, which means I can't be unhappy because my brain's full of happy drugs. I've dispersed the cortisol, I've dispersed the epinephrine and adrenaline, and now I've got happy drugs in my brain. I cannot be unhappy. The big one there is brain-derived neurotropic factor, which is fertilizer for my brain. So not only have I got away from the threat, But my brain's now saying to me, hey, you got away from that threat. How can we do it better next time? Which then produces neuroplasticity in the brain, so I can think differently. My brain changes inside, and I produce neurogenesis. I actually create new brain cells. So I get smarter and wiser and better. So instead of, oh, I'm going to be happy, and hope to be happy, why not just go sprint, kick the bag, punch the bag, lift something heavy, or a combination of all of those, pump happy drugs into your brain, you disperse the stress, you get rid of the dis-ease, your body becomes at ease, it feels good about itself, and you feel happy. If you feel good, are you more likely to wake up with purpose? Or reverse, if you wake up feeling tired, lethargic, stressed, distressed, depressed, what if you go sprint? What will happen automatically? It's one of those things I do every single morning. I do it because my body's a bit busted up from doing stupid exercises. So first thing in the morning, the very first thing I do is I get in my cross trainer and I go absolutely flat out for 10 seconds till I can't breathe and I'm totally puffed. Get my breath back, do it again, get my breath back, do it again. It's an exercise program of about 1 minute, but I start the day fully pumped with high performance neurotransmitting happy drugs. I don't have to take a pill for it. I don't have to get a pharmaceutical prescription. I produce those drugs myself. Hey, guess what? So can you. Isn't that exciting? Could you be happy every day? Could you wake up with a purpose? And if you add to that, because you're happy, are you more likely to want to exercise to be healthy, fit and strong? If you're constantly have a brain full of neurotransmitting happy drugs, is it possible that you won't put up with a lousy, stinking, rotten job? You'll go get a career that you love. You'll open up your own business because you believe that you can. You are constantly expanding your brain to believe in yourself more. Your self-confidence goes up, your self-esteem goes up, your self-belief goes up, your ability to do self-education, your self-inspired, self-motivated, that all goes up because you're pumping happy drugs into your brain. So you're more likely to be healthy, fit and strong, of course. You're more likely to have a career or business that you love, of course. If you're doing what you love, is it more likely that you'll have better ability to make money? One of those big stresses in life is I don't have enough money, or I'm struggling, or I haven't got enough money to pay my bills. But is it possible if you're doing what you love to do and you're passionate about it and you're really good at it because you're healthy, fit and strong, and is it possible that you will keep getting better at what you do because you get fitter and stronger, then is it possible you'll make more money? Simple question. Will you attract better people into your life? If you love who you are, if you've got self-confidence, if you've got self-esteem, if you believe in yourself, if you love who you are, is it possible that you'll attract better people into your life? So those 4 big areas of healthy, fit and strong, career that you love, being financially free and having great people in your life, is all of that more possible if you are a healthy, fit, strong human being that has those transmitting happy chemicals in your brain. So could it be this simple? Could it be as simple as get fit, get puffed, get strong, lift heavy? I'm going to say that again because it just seems too simple, doesn't it? If you lift heavy, you'll get strong. If you get puffed, you'll get fit. It's only short. Both of those exercise programs you can't do for a long time because they're 100% effort. If you sprint, it's 100% effort. If you lift heavy, as heavy as you can, it's 100% effort. Your muscles and bones get strong, your heart and lungs get strong, your endocrine hormonal system fires up, your central nervous system fires up, you pump happy chemicals into your brain. Epinephrine, adrenaline, and cortisol is dispersed. You then have serotonin, dopamine, brain-derived neurotropic factor, oxytocin, endorphins in your brain, and you feel bloody good. You could be happy every day by simply get puffed, get fit, lift heavy, get strong. Get puffed, you'll be fitter, lift heavy, get strong. Everything changes when your body's fit and strong. Isn't that exciting? Woohoo!